Good evening, good morning. Welcome to PSSL 6251 Interagency Cooperation here at George Washington University. I just want to start off by a couple of announcements. First, this Thursday, 7 August, is the Adobe Connect session. I did not get too much enthusiasm for it. So if I don't get any, please email me if you are interested. Even if I get just 3, 4, 5 people, I'll still have it. But I want to make sure that I have a few people for this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please email me after this YouTube or after you listen to this YouTube lecture saying you're interested, or even if you're not interested. So at least I have a thumbs up or thumbs down whether I should do this or not. But right now, tentatively, we're looking at for this Thursday. Again, job talk, careers, and hopefully I want to give you a little bit more interaction via a medium that allows for it. So, second announcement, the scenario. Please go ahead and read ahead. You have your assignments or your groups. On Saturday, a week from today, I will give you more information, and the scenario will work. You'll be getting, a scenario, and then you'll be getting injects, and then at the end of the week, each group will be responsible for writing a quick paper as an overview. So it's a little bit compressed. So we'll start on Saturday, end on Wednesday or Thursday, and I'll give you Thursday till the following Thursday till Sunday to write a paper. Between the 2-3 of you, it shouldn't be that hard. Report 3, I have to apologize. I did not get to it this week. I will get to it next week or early next week, so you have it. And so for paper 4 what I'm kind of looking for. But right now, I think the writing's gotten better between group 1 or paper 1, paper 2, and what I saw tentatively with paper 3. I think we're getting a little bit closer to be on point. And then finally, the course evaluations. Do them. This course is going to be restructured a bit. This whole program is going to be a little bit more interactive. These YouTube videos are just a start. The PowerPoint slides, which I personally don't like, they're going to not be static. They'll be more interactive from here on in. One recommendation I had, and I didn't design this whole course, but one thing when I teach it again, I'm going to add definitely a little bit more of that DC interagency cooperation, between the intelligence community, between the FBI. Why do we still have post 9/11 incidents? Things like that. Because I think a lot more intel community, DC-based people are joining this program. So I think I'll add a section on that. But if you have any more recommendations, please put it into the course evaluation. And please, if you have issues with me as an instructor, with the course, put in the course evaluation, or please feel free to give me a call, and I can, or shoot me an email with any recommendations. So before I go into last week, I just want to talk about current events, because they're two events have happened that are, I think, relevant to the course. And the Ebola virus, interagency issues become very important when we're talking about diseases crossing borders. I think that's something we didn't cover in the class, but when you have, whether it's Ebola, whether you have SARS, West Nile virus, you have to have an Interpol, and we kind of do have like the World Health Organization, but you have to do the same things you would have with Interpol. You have to have information sharing. You have to have even giving a little bit of sovereignty up so that you can kind of get that cross-border cooperation. So yeah, Ebola, and then as some of you have already seen, we flew somebody back from Atlanta. Part of this course and part of this program is okay, so we're flying somebody from Atlanta. We're probably scaring a whole lot of people. How do we manage the public information campaign so when we fly someone with Ebola back, that it doesn't look like we're going to infect the city of Atlanta? So when you're watching the news, watch that. That was pretty. I think we did a pretty good public relations campaign. Everyone from the president on down to the CDC directors that explained, okay, this isn't a threat. This isn't something that should cause mass panic. So, again, when you're watching that, when you're watching an incident like that, look for how the government, whether it's state or local, is communicating their message. The second kind of current event, it didn't make a lot of headlines, is the death penalty. And I'm not going to get into whether you think the death penalty is right or wrong, but something that's happened in the last few weeks is a lot of the governments of Europe, Italy have boycotted or not allowed the shipment of some of the instruments, some of the lethal injection instruments used in the death penalty. And the reason I bring this up is because of when we're talking Interpol, Europol, and other transnational organizations, they don't view the death penalty. A lot of them will not be part of exports, will not be part of criminal investigations if they know that someone's going to be killed. So if the victim, if we still have the death penalty. That's been an enormous challenge if you're working at the federal government. In fact, sometimes they will not export terror suspects if they know that they might get involved in the death penalty. That's been an enormous interagency challenge. So, mainly because the states, they control the death penalty. The federal government's the one negotiating with the government of Italy for Interpol or extradition or something like that. And there's a block there. There's a challenge. And that's come up, come up numerous times. So I just want to kind of, that's up in the news now, and Europe has a different view of the death penalty, at least Western Europe, than the United States does. So moving on, last week, I think we covered, I think most people agreed, some didn't, most people agreed about the politicization of the military, or the militarization of the police. Sorry, I got it backwards. I think that M1 tank at Miami airport, some of you brought that example up. Others brought up the example of the Boston Marathon. I think most, but not all of us, kind of agreed maybe the police shouldn't be military, that maybe we have too many SWAT teams, maybe it tramples a little bit on our rights. And then the second thing, I can't remember who brought up that posse comitatus, that we waive when stuff hits the fan, for lack of a better term. Posse comitatus goes out the window. And that's happened over and over and over again. People waive posse comitatus. Maybe we shouldn't have that law if it's going to be waived at a whim. But I think everyone, or a couple of people, agreed that, for the Civil War, even though the rule wasn't there, but we waived a lot of rules there when it came to LA riots, Hurricane Katrina. The posse comitatus rules tends to go out the window. So I think people kind of agreed with that. So this week, you have a paper due, and I'll be, the week 4 paper, I'll be honest, is it's a little bit opinionated. It's as much a think piece for yourself it is as an academic work. But I'm just, I get something out of it too, and I'm, your fellow students will probably get out of how your agencies and the interagency issues that your particular agency faces, and most importantly, try and apply what you've learned in this course to your particular agency. So don't just complain about how no one shares information at FEMA or at the FBI or at the state governments. Try and apply the rules or the lessons learned here to what you see in your day-to-day life. So yeah, a lot of it's going to be opinionated, a lot of it's going to be not exactly academic literature, but again, try and ground it in some show what you've learned in the course, for lack of a better term. This week as well, we're going to talk about interoperability. 2 types of interoperability: agency interoperability, which you'll cover in your papers in detail, but disaster communications interoperability. I think we can debate how far we've come since 9/11. And you'll see that on a panel in one of the videos. 9/11, you had firemen coming up the 100th floor or so in the World Trade Center, no communications whatsoever. They were in the black, so they couldn't communicate down with their headquarters. When the word got out to get the hell out of Dodge, I don't know how many lives were lost, but there were certainly lives that could have been saved if the communications had worked. And so, yeah, the communications down at the lower level were identified as a major problem. But a lot of the money that's flowed in has kind of helped the situation. However, it's not necessarily communications, it's interoperability. And this is probably where that federal, state, and local issues come into play. The federal government has given hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in Homeland Security grants, but there has been no mandates for communications interoperability. On one side of the hook, it's we should be doing that because the federal government's paying billions of dollars. The other hand of the side of the hook, we live in a federal government. We live in a state, local, federal, multiple jurisdictional, multiple level of government, and maybe the federal government shouldn't mandate. This became very apparent during Hurricane Katrina, where you had local police, municipal police, they would know, okay, Guy is on the roof of this building. However, they couldn't communicate with the helicopter to let them know, okay, Guy is on this building. There was no mandates for them to be on the same frequencies, to be the same equipment, to actually train together so they could communicate smoothly. And this was obviously came readily apparent in Katrina. The rescue mission where it was hampered by this, the evacuation mission was hampered by this. And then obviously the actual trying to get relief to the people in trouble, where you had the federal government had equipment, storage, water, what have you, but the state couldn't communicate the needs of the locality with the federal government. You couldn't merge the two together. So the question that I have, and please bring this up, is should the federal government mandate this? Should the federal government mandate interoperability communications in disaster scenarios? Now, there's multiple questions that come up. What is a disaster scenario? What is, if the federal government's going to mandate it, should it have to provide funds to all these municipalities and localities for communication? Should the federal government prioritize? There's going to be a disaster more likely in New York, San Francisco, New Orleans. There is going to be in Wichita, Kansas. No offense to anyone who might be from Wichita, Kansas out there, but so should the federal government prioritize funding for that? Is Congress going to go for that? There's a million questions that relay that, but should the federal government mandate communications? And if not, how do we achieve communications interoperability? So bring those questions into the discussion points. So again, I appreciate everyone's efforts in this class. I think we've had some good discussions. I hope you've gotten something from it. And if there's any questions or issues, please let me know. And please let me know if you can make the Adobe Connect session this Thursday.